Like, if we get into an argument, she'll ask me if I'm about to break up with her. Like, all the time. It's always like, I wasn't even thinking that.
I feel like if he really just
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Pepper. You know what time it is. So, you guys about Put a Ring on It, season 1, episode 2, dealing with Michael and Shea, part 2. Guys, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, make sure you like, you share, subscribe, click on the bell button for a notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returning as well, you got the minerals. You got the minerals. Don't forget as well, please leave a comment down below as well. We really appreciate it. And also as well, don't forget, grab your merchandise. You understand? Mineral Gang, send them back to manufacturer. So, dealing with part 2 of Put a Ring on It is quite interesting because we're dealing with Michael and Shea. What I found quite interesting was that with Michael and Shea in this particular part, there were some things that were said that were, I don't want to say concerning, but opened my eyes up to the type of relationship that they have, okay? Because obviously in the first episode, we get to see Michael and we think to ourselves, Michael's probably, cold-hearted, da-da-da-da-da-da. But in this particular episode, we can kind of see why he is the way that he is.
My issue is emotion has never really been part of my life. Just kind of like my relationship with my parents. My parents don't say I love you and stuff like that. And so with her, it's like...
Now, he got to go on a date and he came back from the date, said, obviously that, that it wasn't really for him per se, the date. And the reason why is because obviously I don't think he was super attracted to that girl. I think she was pretty, yes, but he wasn't super attracted to her. And also as well, like I said, it's not going to be one date that's going to make you connect. You know what I mean? Oftentimes, especially when you've had a very long time dating someone, it's not just one time that you meet someone and you connect off instantly. Yeah.
To keep it a little light for a while. I'm not necessarily looking to get married right away.
I'm definitely not like in a rush. I want to take my time because I'm only doing it one time.
And
he said, obviously, at the moment I want to kind of keep it light. And that for me spoke volumes in itself. The fact that he said on a date he wants to keep it light if he's dating tells me that he's still afraid of commitment. You know what I mean? And so this keep it light term actually speaks more about how he feels towards trying to commit long term to somebody. So it's better I just stay where I am with Shea than go to a new place and I can't commit to that person and I have to explain all of this all over again. No, I'd rather stay with Shea kind of thing, right? Because in its truest form is that it's easier to be where you are because there's comfortability there. And Shea is allowing you to be comfortable because she's not leaving necessarily, but she wants to see change. You know her very well, but to go with a new person, he's had to put that marker straight away. I want to keep it light. So just in case you get any ideas and want to start getting married, I already told you from the beginning, I'm keeping it light. But he also did explain that he wants to do marriage one time. So he's not anti-marriage, which is why I'm saying you have to look at the reasons as to why someone doesn't want to get married. Most people are not
like in a rush. I want to take my time because I'm only doing it one time.
And that's the same thing with me. So it's like I just want to do it one time with this one person.
With the right person.
With the right person.
At the right time.
The right time.
Anti-marriage is that the fact is something else has hindered their feeling towards marriage. Yeah? And so he said obviously he wants to do marriage one time with the one right person. And what I felt from when he was talking to this girl was that he needed an outlet to discuss how he felt. Shea has not been the emotional safe space for him to discuss how he felt. And the reason why she's not been that safe space is because her dismissiveness of his emotions and her dismissiveness of how he feels comes across, whether she says it directly or whether she shows that through the way she behaves and the way she listens. She's not showing that she wants to create a space for him to be vulnerable with her. It almost is about me kind of feeling almost sometimes in that whole conversation between herself and Michael, Shea and Michael. And so what you saw here when he's talking to the girl was that he began to speak a bit more.
Yeah.
Dr. Nicole might know what she's talking about.
Okay.
Right? He had an outlet to be able to discuss how he felt, and potentially he's lost that emotional intimacy of safe space with Shea. And so that's why he's releasing some of this information to a random person. You know what I mean? That for me just tells me that they've got a lot of work to do on that front. Yeah. So if you're in a relationship, listen, you need to make sure that your partner can be vulnerable enough to tell you certain things. Are they open enough to tell you certain things, or are they scared to? You know, are they frightened to? You know what I mean? Like, let's don't get it twisted. People do get scared to say some things, and it's not because of your action. It's just because of they know that this is a very heavy thing they're gonna say, or they know that this thing will definitely come with judgment because they've done some wrong. That's normal. But you know, when people have fears and insecurities, we should be able to express that to our partners. In truth, and so when they come back from the date, you know, Michael expresses that the girl had a nice body, she was good looking, overall solid. You know, but you know, he's not interested in going on a date with this girl, yeah? And so what was interesting was that Michael expresses that Shea, as Shea was like, you know, saying about, Michael actually said about Shea always expressing that she doesn't want to break up.
Yeah, she's like that a lot. Like, if we get into an argument, she'll ask me if I'm about to break up with her. Like, all the time. It's always like, I wasn't even thinking that.
I feel like,
you know, don't break up with me. Don't break up with me. And this is what I'm talking about, where you've done things, and this is coming from a place of fear, right? Where she's done something in the past where she ghosted him. Remember I said this? She ghosted him, and now, as they're now in further along their relationship, the fear is beginning to creep up in her, because just like I did to you, you could potentially do to me. So now the whole thing is, don't break up with me, don't break up with me. Why? Because you need that reassurance because of what you've done. It's actually more about your guilt. And your guilt that's not been assuaged because you've not actually sorted this issue out fully, right? That you've not come to terms with forgiving even yourself, I think, and let alone getting his forgiveness. So there's two fronts here. She needs to also forgive herself for the fact that she's done this thing, but she needs to do that by coming clean and letting them know, listen, hey, this is what I done. I'm sorry for doing that. I see that you were hurt. What's your side? Right? And so when and it's funny because when he exposed her, her facial expression showed, why did you expose me like that? The same way he felt like when she told a story about she ghosted him, he also had a look on his face like, why did you say that? Like, I'm gonna look embarrassed in front of everybody else. Right? So they've got some guard issues between the both of them. They want to be guarded. You know what I mean? They don't want to expose certain things about themselves. And that's natural because you want to keep certain parts of you don't want to be embarrassed or ashamed or made to look bad as a villain, right? And then she said, you know, if he calls out great things about her, she'd feel secure. She wouldn't feel secure. She still wouldn't. The point is that the security is only part of what he's saying and doing, and to do with what you feel, Shea. You feel a certain way because of what you've done, and you're scared he could do the same to you. And so until you deal with that, you're not going to feel secure. You know, you're not going to feel secure until you start trying to listen to him and hear him for what he's actually thinking and feeling. You won't feel secure because you won't know what he's thinking, really. You know, he said, obviously, it was funny to see her squirm because she's always so cool. And that's an issue. See, this is power play right now. You know, to try and I need to see you sweat a little bit. I need to see you care a little bit.
okay, we ain't gonna be doing that.
It's just funny to me to see her kind of squirm a little bit because he just thinks she's so cool. It wasn't a big deal to me.
Right? And the reason why is because of what you've done in the past. Again, this is part of it. She acts so cool, like nothing's happened. She acts like she's everything's always good. But we've heard her verbally, you know, mention that she feels a certain type of way about him going on dates, right? But what he hasn't seen behind closed doors is that fact that what she's done, there's not been an equalizer for it. What she's done in the past has not been an equalizer. So he's never felt comfortable. So now when you get the chance to go on this date, it's an equalizer in a certain way. I get to see her squirm. In what way? In the way that I get to see her care for me. Does she actually really care? Because the whole point is when you abandoned me and ghosted, I have to question whether you truly care for me. And that question lingers with me all the while. Now I'm going on a date and I see you squirming. Yeah, it shows me, my friend, that you're caring a little bit. You know what I mean? You actually genuinely do care a little bit.
I think she's just gonna try to get me back and maybe try to get me in my feelings one day.
He's still smitten. He's too smitten for me.
He's too smitten.
Yeah.
He said something like, she's gonna try and get me back and get him in his feelings. And I said, this is not a good thing. Why is she gonna try and get you back? And I said, again, this is what we're talking about. Why he's not gonna be able to be vulnerable. If she's gonna be in a place of tit-to-tat, la-tete, this is going to be a problem in the long run of your relationship, because what you're saying is whenever I do something and you don't like it, you decide to respond in a way to try and get me to feel hurt. so that you feel better about yourself. What they're talking about right now is the relationship part they're in right now. It's called a power struggle in their relationship. They're struggling for power. Why? Because someone feels hurt and unvalidated and unheard, and so now they're struggling with power because that person's also acting a certain way that makes that person feel invalidated, unheard, and unseen. And so because of this main issue of the past of where she ghosted hasn't been resolved, power struggle. I'm going to make you care. You're going to make me care. I'm going to make you care. You're going to make me care. Power struggle. And they shouldn't be in this space because they've been friends for so long. They should be able to go past it, right? But until it's sorted, until it's addressed appropriately how he wants it to be addressed, there's also a power struggle.
He's still smitten. He's too smitten for me.
He's too smitten.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, he's too smitten for me. And that for me confirmed a little bit what I'm saying. Like, why is he too smitten for you? Why is he too smitten for you? Right? When you went on your date, you was a little bit happy too. You get me? But obviously, we know that she wanted a relationship. So for her, now the insecurities are starting to play in. He's too smitten for me. And when he tried to put his hand there, she pushed his hand away. When he put his hand there, she pushed his hand away. She's frustrated. She's annoyed. She's hurt. And most importantly, he's gaining a little bit of power, and that makes her feel insecure. Because so long as she had power, she can feel secure in a relationship. When I say power, I'm not talking about major craziness in a relationship. I'm talking about the fact, like he said, she's going to get me back and get me my feelings. Why? Because it's about making sure that he doesn't leave her. The power is about control. I don't want you to leave me. I don't want you to leave me, so I have to do things. There's a similar energy that you use when you're saying you want to make your boyfriend jealous or your girlfriend jealous. It's the same energy because you want to keep them in vicinity. You want to keep them in the same place of you. Right? It's control. And so, Michael expresses that he never really had emotions from his parents. They didn't say, I love you. And
My issue is emotion has never really been part of my life. Just kind of like my relationship with my parents. My parents don't say I love you and stuff like that. And so with her, it's like...
What he's doing is that he's being triggered. Oh, I should say, no, when he's in a relationship with Shea, he's operating on a place of, this is what I know, and I don't want to come out of that comfort zone. Yeah. When I was my parents, they didn't love me. They didn't show me love and affection that way. Me too. I also not show love and affection this way. And so right now he's saying I'm in comfortable mode and I'm not going to come out of that comfort zone. I need to stay where I am and be there. But with Shea, she's like, no, I need you to come out of that comfort zone because you're not showing me the love that I need. And we're talking about here programming. What you've been programmed to do. Yeah. And so what he's saying is that now you want me to come out of my programming, but when I'm about to come out of my programming, you ghosted me. And when you ghosted me, that triggered me and took me back. So a lot of times people are trying to make forward steps and something happens and you've taken me 2-3 steps back. And that's what he's saying, right? And so when he says that, what's interesting again about Shea is that she destroys the emotional intimacy and safe space once again. She goes, I thought he was being dramatic at first. Whoa, why would you think he's being dramatic? That tells me, see, the word even being dramatic means you're overlooking and saying you're over dramatizing your feelings.
At first, I was thinking he was being dramatic. But in our talks, I feel like he's serious about that, and that's something that's really holding us back is me not being
So this is why the ghosting happened. You don't want him to feel emotion then. You come back, you want him to feel emotion, but only to a certain degree. Because now he's being over dramatic when he's expressing his feelings. Think about it. Shay's asking for emotion, but she herself is not connected in a way that will allow him to be even emotional because she's seeing emotion in a certain type of way. She's boxed emotion in a certain vision for herself. And now she's even saying it could be over dramatic the way he was at first, right? And so in the cutscene she says, I can be sis. No, you are. Not that I can be. See, I can be even again states again that she's not taking full accountability of what she's actually done. She's not fully aware.
If what I don't want to do is let someone overdo the pain that I've caused them.
If you
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
Sounding like you want to control what he feels. The guy doesn't feel happy, but you say you can't overdo the pain. What do you mean? Again, she lacks the ability to actually analyze her own behavior and say, hey, I'm actually wrong. You know, some people are lacking in this area. They don't know how to look at themselves introspectively. And this is causing an issue between herself and Michael. It's like I feel like I'm talking to myself over and over and over again, but it's been shown right here. You know, she's entitled. There's almost a spoilt brat kind of attitude in there. You know, that she doesn't want to process his pain unless she sees tears or sees him like break out completely. But because he's saying it calmly, like, yo, look, you know, you're hurting my feelings and this past situation is a problem that keeps coming up. Someone's unable to look at that and say, hey, look, okay, my bad. Like, this should have been, at this point, she should have said, listen, hey, my bad. You know what? He's right. Like, I've got to apologize and look at how to make it up to him. Her first instinct is also to protect herself. There's a selfishness that I want to protect myself. You've been hurt, but I want to protect myself from you. Hold on a minute, you've done wrong. Yeah, but I've got to protect myself from you because, you know, you're going to come and judge me and I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be, and I said this in the first review, I don't look like a villain. You know, that, you know, she said, oh, do you need a year to get over it? What? Like, sis, right now, you're not providing no safe space. Right now, you're not hearing the brother. Right now, Shea, you're moving mad. Yeah, and for me, that's concerning because a person's unable to see themselves. And she said, and you know what? People, when they do this, it's because of what's happening in their childhood often at times as well. You know, we like talking about childhood. Their childhood is showing that maybe as a kid, you were over-criticized. Do you get me? Maybe you were over-judged when you were a kid. And so now as you've grown up, you don't like criticism. You don't like to be judged. You don't like to be wrong. And so now you're unable to accept that your part and play, you can't accept what part you've played in this. So when the criticism's coming your way, you're saying you just could get over it. Why? Because of what you've experienced. You've projected onto the relationship. So yeah, guys, that was a part 2. I think there was some good stuff in there. Guys, if you are in a place like this where, you know, your partner is trying to express something to you, you got to be able to let them speak and let them able to express how they feel to you. Listen, not just to respond, but listen well. So yeah, guys, we'll leave it there. Guys, comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you. Boom.